Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer remains perhaps one of the most contentious names in baseball history. Talent and controversy inextricably linked. He has not been active in Major League Baseball since mid-2021, when he was placed on administrative leave amid allegations of sexual assault, followed by a suspension under MLB's joint domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse policy. His original 324-game suspension was later reduced to 194 games on appeal. After that, he was released by the Dodgers in January 2023. Since then, he has played abroad, in Nippon Professional Baseball with Yokohama DNA Baystars, and in the Mexican League with Diablos Rojos del Mexico, but has not been signed by an MLB team. Because he has been out of MLB for several seasons, rust in pitch command and consistency are realistic concerns. While Bauer has shown strong performance overseas, there is no recent MLB data proving his fastballs, sliders, or off-speed pitches maintain their previous sharpness in major league hitters' environments. The gap between environments, ball, mound, hitter quality, makes translating success risky. Pitch sequencing, which relies on timing, conditioning, and in-game adjustments, could suffer after playing in different leagues with varying ball characteristics and schedules. Another weakness is public perception and trust. Even though Bauer has served his suspension, won legal rulings, including one in 2025 where a judge ruled his accuser violated part of their settlement, and declared himself an unrestricted free agent, he has not received serious interest from MLB teams. Eugenio Suarez. Eugenio Suarez is among the most powerful bats in baseball in 2025. He's launched 45 home runs, is in the top 5 in that category, and drives in over 100 runs. Impressive volume. His OPS is strong, and when Suarez gets into good counts, he punishes fastballs, especially middle up. That said, his batting average has slipped to about .226 in many platforms, among the lower averages for power hitters with similar home run totals. This drop suggests that his contact consistency isn't as strong as his power, and that misses are increasing when pitchers are more precise. Suarez sometimes seems less comfortable in counts where he isn't ahead. 2 strike or behind scenarios expose him. He swings more aggressively in those moments. Though public splits by count/pitch type are limited, the overall contact metrics and batting logs show more weak contact and outs in those tougher counts. Defensively, Suarez remains a capable third baseman, showing reliable hands and decent arm strength. But in terms of range or first step quickness, especially on plays to his right or deep third base plays, he appears less smooth than younger comparables. He has been traded mid-season back to the Mariners, which may reflect both his continued offensive value and concerns about his long-term defensive plus. In tight game situations and against top pitching, Suarez's mistakes are more costly. Elevated fastballs inside, well-located breaking balls, and edge-of-zone offerings tend to exploit him. His power keeps him elite, but his margin for error is narrower. As a polarizing star, his bursts of dominance are eye-catching, but his dry spells expose exactly what critics have long observed. When he doesn't feel the strike zone or he's reacting rather than anticipating, he becomes vulnerable. Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton is still one of the most feared power hitters in baseball, but 2025 has exposed vulnerabilities that are harder to ignore. One confirmed fact, he began the season on the 10-day injured list and was later moved to the 60-day IL due to tendonitis, epicondylitis in both elbows. That issue, which had bothered him since late 2024, cost him all of spring training and delayed his season debut. When he was activated on June 16th, his return showed flashes. He hit with impressive exit velocity and hard contact in those first games. StatCast metrics reinforce his power remains elite. Stanton's 2025 barrel percent sits around 21.4%. His average exit velocity is about 94.7 miles per hour, and his hard hit percent hovers in the high 50s, numbers that rank among the top players in the sport. But there are clear trade-offs. His batting average and overall consistency lag behind those power numbers. He's making loud mistakes more often. Pitches inside or elevated, zones pitchers no challenge him, have sometimes resulted in weak flyouts or pop-ups rather than the usual booming shots. There is no strong public metric confirming a sharp drop in defensive speed or range, but being limited to less demanding roles, many DH appearances, suggests the Yankees believe part of his defensive value is compromised by physical distance or recovery after injury. Another difficulty: availability. Stanton has averaged only approximately 94.7 games per season with New York, and injuries, elbows, hamstring, calf, have repeatedly interrupted his ability to string together full stretches. Ozzie Albies. Ozzie Albies remains one of the more frustrating and admired figures in baseball. His hustle, switch hit power, and pass consistency make expectations high. But 2025 has revealed several sharp vulnerabilities that are well documented. His offensive metrics have dropped to levels that once seemed unlikely. As of midseason, his slash line is around .240/.674 OPS, which ranks near the bottom among regular hitters, with only 16 home runs through a large stretch of games. His batting value on Baseball Savant is in the 20th percentile, slugging is low, 12th percentile, exit velocity is among the lowest, 7th percentile, and barrel rate is also very low, approximately 3.2%, far off from his earlier seasons. These aren't just cold streaks. The underlying contact metrics suggest weaker hard contact, more soft grounders, fewer solid fly balls. His splits are alarming. Albies is hitting especially poorly against left-handed pitching in 2025. His performance as a righty, batting right-handed against left-handed pitchers has virtually disappeared, with 0 home runs and a WRC plus in the 60s, versus his much stronger career norms. That drop-off dramatically reduces his value in many platoon or matchup situations. Defensively and physically, the decline is subtler. Advanced metrics suggest his arm strength has weakened relative to league averages, and his range has receded somewhat. Baseball Savant confirms his arm strength rating, and defensive values are no longer standouts. He has also dealt with wrist injuries and fractures recently, which may be contributing to diminished bat speed and discomfort in swings. Albies' power flashes, like homers with exit velocities over 100 miles per hour, still appear occasionally, but they feel rare compared to past seasons. In tight games and high-leverage situations, those flashes are less dependable. His bat has far less margin for error. His splits versus tough pitchers are widening, and his defensive tools that were once plus are drifting toward average. For a player who once seemed destined for perennial all-star status, 2025 shows that even gifted consistency can erode without health and contact quality. Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper remains one of MLB's most impactful hitters in 2025, but this season has also sharpened some of his vulnerability edges. According to StatCast, his average exit velocity this year is 91.6 miles per hour, with a barrel percent of 13.2% and hard hit percent of 48.5%, all solid marks. His WOBA is about .367 with an xWOBA close to .383, showing his offensive presence still ranks among the better bats in the league. That said, Harper started 2025 with a troubling early slump. In April, he hit .231 with 6 home runs over 28 games. But his slugging and power metrics were down relative to expectations. His isolated power was among the lowest in the league. He saw fewer pitches in the strike zone than a majority of hitters, about 42.9%, ranking among the lowest for players with significant plate appearances, which suggests pitchers are challenging him more with off-zone stuff. Harper also missed time on the injured list with right wrist inflammation, returning on June 30th. His performance after the DL stint has been mixed. While his OPS has improved over some stretches, overall consistency remains elusive. Defensively, fielding metrics show he remains capable at first base, but he has fewer reps in the outfield, reducing chances for highlight plays. This shift suggests the Phillies are managing his physical output and possibly preserving his power strokes rather than risking more physically demanding defensive assignments. In high-leverage counts, two-strike situations, or when behind, Harper's contact rate and slugging tend to drop more noticeably than during his hot streaks. Fastballs middle in or up in the strike zone occasionally fare better for him, but edge and off-speed pitches remain risk zones. For a player with his reputation, those slower stretches and missed power at bats matter. Harper's peak still gives him the ability to change games, but critics and pitchers have identified the pressure zones where errors are likeliest. Kris Bryant. Kris Bryant was built for spotlight promise, power, versatility, high expectations, but 2025 has magnified both what he can do and what he struggles with. His bat still shows flashes when the zone is right. Power to all fields, ability to pull, and walk rates that reflect hitter knowledge. But his health has become an anchor. Chronic back issues, degenerative disc disease in the lumbar area, and recently a rib contusion have cost him time and interrupted rhythm. On days when he can't get fully loose, swing speed and bat lag show up, especially against fastballs elevated or inside, which used to be easier pitches for him to turn. The lower torso pain also seems to limit aggressive base running or extending plays in the field. Defensively, after shifts to left field rather than corner infield spots, distance and first step burst are less assured. Bryant remains capable of moments of brilliance, of course, long home runs, clutch hits, but predictability works against him. When pitchers know to challenge him inside or with high heat early, those are his hardest outs. His polarizing nature lies in the contrast. Still dangerous, but more vulnerable. Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt is as close to a textbook steady bat as there is in 2025. But even for him, signs of age and waning athletic margin are evident. He is hitting .277 this season, with an OPS of about .741. Numbers respectable for a veteran, though below what many expect from a former MVP. His hard hit rate and average exit velocity are still strong, suggesting he hasn't lost the ability to make loud contact. But power output is down relative to his peak seasons. Home run totals are lower, and projection systems, Steamer, Zeps, anticipate fewer long balls and RBIs. What becomes more fragility than true weakness is consistency in certain pitch types and counts. When facing elevated fastballs or inside heat, there are more weak contact outs than booming drives. Though public splits don't fully document this, anecdotal game logs suggest it. Late in counts, breaking balls and off-speed seem more capable of disrupting timing. His swing tends to become more protective rather than attacking when behind in the count. Defensively, Goldschmidt remains a reliable first baseman, but any plays requiring high agility or reacting quickly to bad hops feel more taxing. His lateral quickness isn't what it was. He has missed fewer defensive high-effort plays, especially as the season wears on. For someone whose reputation is built on consistency, these edge cases matter. In high-leverage innings or tight games, where pitchers can exploit even slight timing issues, Goldschmidt might no longer have the luxury of forgiveness he once had. His leadership, approach, and baseball IQ keep his value high. But in 2025, his ceiling seems less lofty, and his margin for error slimmer. Javier Baez. Javier El Mago Baez still delivers moments of flash in 2025, but much of his performance highlights long-known weak spots. He is batting .256 with 11 home runs and an OPS of .684. His OBP is low, approximately .284, indicating fewer walks relative to strikeouts. This means slumps hit him harder because he doesn't get many free passes. What breaks him more often are two core issues. When he gets behind in the count or faces off speed and breaking stuff early, he swings aggressively and often offers weak or foul contact. Statcast and splits show that his slugging drops during those tough counts, and his ability to adjust mid-pitch is more inconsistent than in his earlier bursts. Defensively, he retains much of his hustle, but any plays that require full burst speed, quick lateral reaction, or covering ground far from home base appear more marginal. While not publicly quantified to a great extent, observers and game logs show a visible difference. In outfield jumps or charging grounders, that suggests slower recovery. In recent months, his performance in stretches has reflected greater volatility. Hot streaks with loud hits, followed by colder portions with reduced slugging. In high-pressure or late-game situations, where pitch mix is more varied and mistakes are punished more, those inconsistencies cost more heavily. For fans, the theatrics and hustle still make Baez exciting. For opposing teams, his weaknesses, count discipline, adjusting to off-speed early defensive range under strain, are understood and exploitable. Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman in 2025 looks very much like Freddie Freeman. Elite contact, excellent batting average, .295 as of latest checks, and an OPS north of .850. But age, health, and pitch selection are sharpening what once were forgiving margins. Freeman began the season with a right ankle sprain, an ankle he'd already surgically repaired in the offseason, from a mishap entering the shower, leading to instability and time on the IL. Though he's shown bursts of great hitting, attacks inside with fastballs or pitches down and in seem more likely to jam him. His slugging versus elevated inside heat shows slight decline in consistency, and when behind in counts, he is more passive and less likely to do damage. Defensively, he's still reliable at first, but plays requiring stretch, deep reach, or quick lateral movement arguably cost him extra effort. Late in games, especially when foot speed would matter for recovery or pursuit, those little physical slips show. Freeman's polish, experience, and batting sense keep him elite, but his window for mistakes is narrower, and opponents know it. Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman has earned reputation for high baseball IQ and a refined offensive skill set, but 2025 shows limits. He remains a strong contact hitter, able to drive balls into gaps and handle fastballs. But breaking balls or breaking changeups low in the zone show more weak contact or whiffs than in his best years. His power output is solid, but less intimidating. Elevated pitch metrics aren't producing as many towering outcomes. He's also been somewhat less aggressive on bases and in defensive range. Plays that demand sprinting or full momentum aren't taken as often, and reaction on deep balls or bad angles shows fractional delay. Bregman's leadership and consistency save him in many situations, but when the game is tight and pitchers identify his zones of discomfort, low, off-speed, breaking stuff, those are the moments where his weaknesses become exposed to fans and opponents alike. Mike Trout. Mike Trout remains one of MLB's most recognizable names, and with good reason. His 2025 StatCast line still shows above-average power, a barrel percent of approximately 13.7%, a hard hit percent near 46.8%, and exit velocity hovering around 90 miles per hour, all strong markers against league averages. But 2025 also exposes some sharper edges in his game, reminders that even timeless talents age. At bats count more now. Trout's batting average this season is around .231, with OPS trailing past peaks. Strikeouts are up, his swing and miss rate has increased, particularly on pitches outside the zone, suggesting that selectivity and timing are getting tested. Injuries are consistent companions. He's landed on the injured list this year with a bone bruise in his left knee, the same knee that required surgery in 2024, and has had lingering physical issues that may be limiting both mobility and comfort. Defensively and on the base paths, Trout's shift from center field to right field, in part to manage wear, subtly reduces the premium on his speed. He still tracks fly balls well, but covering gaps or making full sprint recoveries off bad reads look more taxing. At the plate, when trailing in the count or facing late-game pressure, Trout's power remains credible. But his contact, his ability to adjust mid-pitch, and consistency of loud contact suffer more often than in his healthier samples. Weak flyouts, pop-ups, or near misses, where once there'd be authority, now feel like margins. Trout still has game-changing at-bats, moments that remind us what made him legendary. But in 2025, the gap between his best and his merely excellent is narrowing. Opponents who can exploit swing and miss, elevated or inside fastballs, or exploit delayed reaction on off-speed may find more holes than they used to. In tight games and long stretches, those small cracks matter more. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani in 2025 remains one of the most dominant dual threats in MLB, but even he carries shades of vulnerability in his game. Offensively, he's still excellent. A .281 batting average with 49 home runs, 93 RBI, .395 OBP, and a .608 slugging mark. His exit velocity stays high, his barrel rate remains among the best, and he forces pitchers to adjust constantly. But cracks are showing in other areas. Pitching remains the first. After a long recovery from Tommy John revision surgery, his limited innings on the mound include outings where command jingles and his secondary pitches lack their prior bite. In a return to the mound mid-season, he allowed hits and exhibited some lack of sharpness in breaking stuff. With age comes exposure, velocity dips in late innings, fewer innings pieced together, and less margin for error when fatigue sets in. As a hitter, trailing counts and elevated fastballs remain risk points. Pitches up in the zone sometimes produce fly balls rather than crushing contact. While his walk rate is among the best, being behind in counts more often forces him to defend more than attack. Defensively and running, while still effective, He's not the same speedster he once was in maximizing defensive range or beat-out hustle on weak grounders. In playoff or October intensity, when every swing and pitch is magnified, these small edges, pitch command, power consistency under fatigue, timing off velocity, may be the difference between legendary byway impact and almost legendary. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge's 2025 season remains one to behold, and yet his weaknesses peer more clearly than when he was in his physical prime. His StatCast metrics are tremendous. Average exit velocity around 95.4 miles per hour, a hard hit rate above 57%, barrel rate north of 25%, WOBA and xWOBA reflecting top-tier run creation. But where Judge shows cracks is in the consistency and durability edge. At 33, Judge has dealt with elbow flexor strain in midsummer and is being managed more gently in right field, with many games designated hitter. When pitchers adjust, particularly using off-speed or breaking pitches low and away or at changing eye levels, Judge's whiffs tick upward. In two-strike counts, his contact quality slips more than many expect. Elevated fastballs inside that used to be prime power pitches occasionally jam him or force weak flyouts. Judge's range defensively in large outfields is taxed, and making full sprint chases to deep walls show slower recoveries. Also, his margin for error narrows late in games or long series. Swing decisions that once were automatic feel more human, more exposed. Judge remains among the game's biggest threats, yet in pressure moments, makers of fastballs, inside heat, and late innings may find more leverage than in seasons past. Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has always seemed almost immune to slumps, but 2025 is making cracks more visible, and they're supported by hard data. His average exit velocity is down to approximately 89.1 miles per hour from approximately 92.4 in 2023. His barrel percent dropped to 5.6%, well below his career norms and league average. He's batting around .278, which isn't bad, but it's a career low compared to his previous standards. Weight loss and illness have played roles. Betts lost about 25 pounds early in the season due to a stomach illness, which he himself said caused timing issues and affected his ability to hold up through long games. Observers note that throwing heat high or inside or off-balance fastballs, which Betts used to handle with authority, are leading either to weak contact or jams more often than before. Swing and miss and chase rates are creeping up, batted balls are less often barreled and more frequently weak when not perfectly in the zone. Defensively, the move to playing shortstop more exclusively this season adds mental and physical load. Reaction time, first step, and range seem taxed in bigger infield gaps, especially when Betts isn't feeling 100%. There's also a stub toe episode earlier in the season that, while minor, contributed to missed starts or less explosive plays. In recent stretches, Betts has shown signs of getting hot. Both his expected stats and recent contact quality indicate he still has many tools intact. But the gap between his best moments and his average ones is more pronounced than ever. For a player built on consistency and elite bat-to-ball skill, having fewer margin plays and less forgiveness in the mistakes is what makes him polarizing this year. Still great, but no longer guaranteed to dominate every night. Manny Machado. Manny Machado remains one of the more complete bats in MLB, but even his strengths come with sharper edges this season. His 2025 StatCast profile is elite. Average exit velocity near 93.0 miles per hour, hard hit percent about 52.1%, and barrel percent rising toward 14.6%, all well above league average. Still, durability and consistency are emerging as concerns. September 2025 has included a brutal stretch where he's slashing around .108/.132/.297 with very low WRC plus in recent games, far below his season norms. Pitchers seem to have adjusted. More breaking stuff late in counts, more pressure when he's needing to protect, fewer easy swings. Offensive production during high leverage or late innings is visibly behind his reputation. Defense remains solid, but Machado's physical demands at third base, reaction time, long throws, knuckle pressure, mean fatigue is more apparent late in games. For someone once so reliable, these dips in bat quality and frequency of cold streaks give opponents fuel. The polish is still there, the margin for error less so. Juan Soto. Juan Soto's 2025 is near historic. He's a threat with power, walks, and speed all combined. StatCast measures tell a beast. Exit velocity approximately 94.2 miles per hour. Hard hit percent approximately 55.9%. Barrel percent approximately 18%. And his power output, 40 home runs, high extra base, totals remains among league leaders. But the cracks show in his batted ball profile and consistency. Grounder rate has jumped. What used to be approximately 45% some seasons is closer to 52% now. That reduces value in extra base hits and takes away some advantage when pitches are elevated. Also, his pull spread fly balls are down. The arm side power and pull power aerials that used to dominate are less frequent, which limits offensive explosiveness. When facing elite velocity or fastballs in challenging zones, he sometimes responds with fouls or broken bats instead of the thunderous hits people expect. And there was a game where he fouled a ball off his left foot and left playing, leaving a foot contusion that, though not season-ending, exposed a vulnerability. In high leverage, those quieter at-bats, weak eyes, marginal misses, pile up. Soto is still a star, but 2025 proves that even excellence has small leak points. Polarizing MLB players captivate fans for their brilliance and frustrate them with inconsistency. Their highs are elite, walk-off home runs, highlight reel defense, unmatched charisma, but their lows reveal exploitable flaws. Whether it's declining bat speed, pitch selection struggles, or defensive liabilities, these players walk a fine line between greatness and vulnerability. What makes them polarizing isn't just performance, it's perception. Fans cling to flashes of dominance, critics point to the inconsistency. Yet in a game built on failure, it's this volatility that keeps baseball magnetic. Each at-bat or play offers redemption or reminder of why these stars remain among the game's most hotly debated talents.